Hello, and we are live with another exciting episode of Career Conversations here at the University of California, Merced. We do these programs as a way for you, the student, to really understand career development, career opportunities, career growth, and get insights into the minds of individuals that are in industry and can give you the advice that you need to really thrive. Today, I am joined by Dr. Dave Russell, who has a lifetime, over 30 years of pharmaceutical experience. His latest area that he was in, he's a former scientist over at Genentech. And I know he's worked at a couple of other places that he'll tell stories about. He has a really big history of really understanding the biotech space. So if you are interested in biotech, you are in the right podcast. So Dave, hello, how are you doing?
Hey Rob, thanks, and thanks for inviting me in. This is fun.
So the first question that I have for you is the question, and it's the question that everyone gets in an interview. 95% of the time, you will get this question in an interview, students, and I ask every single guest this question. The question is, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
100% correct. I've always asked that question of everyone that's ever come in to interview with me. My story is pretty easy, actually. Physics as an undergraduate, organic chemistry as a graduate student, bio-NMR as a postdoc, and then I joined the pharmaceutical industry and never looked back. I've spent almost 30 years doing development work in pharmaceuticals. There was a slight detour there. I spent a few years in marketing at Agilent, working on NMR systems for pharmaceuticals, but it counts.
Excellent. And I know our students will be curious about this sector, the growth story in this sector. I think there's a lot of exciting trends within the sector. And my question for you is, are there any changes that are happening or trends within the field that you are excited about for the future?
The thing that no one can get around is that computer science, AI, ML, has changed the way we do our jobs. They've said for many years the low-hanging fruit has already been picked. Those drug molecules and drug targets that were easy have already been had. The ability to do high-end computations and working with big data science allows us to start looking for therapeutic areas and therapies that were not available to us before because they are more complicated and it's very difficult for a human to wrap their head around all the variables involved. Will it completely push all of the experience and the old folks out? No, it clearly will not. They've been talking about that since I started working 30 years ago, and it still hasn't happened. But it has allowed us to move into areas that previously either were very, very slow or impossible to do research in.
Excellent. Thank you so much. On the idea of trends in your field, how can current undergraduate students or graduate students seeking a career in this space better prepare for these trends in the future?
It's hard to undersell how valuable it is to have some experience. If you want to prepare yourself for a career in pharmaceuticals, particularly on the scientific side, I would encourage you strongly to do some undergraduate research if you can, take an internship if you can. If you can't find a paid internship, go ask somebody if you can come hang out in their lab for 6 weeks during the summer and spend a little time with them. That kind of experience shows your interest and dedication to what you're doing, and it's very, very valuable. It will help push your resume up to the top of the stack.
Great advice. In terms of recommendations for students that, or prospective students, because I know you watch too, what can they do to really thrive in this industry? What recommendations do you have of what they can do now to really just be competitive?
Several things you can do to be competitive. To work well in this industry, you have to be curious. Everything we do revolves around solving problems that people may or may not have ever seen before and looking at results in a new way. So to augment that curiosity, take as broad a swath of classes as you can get. Go ahead and take that class in biochemistry. Go ahead and take that class in physics, even if you didn't think you need it. Go ahead and take that class in mathematics. So a broad foundation will always help you. Public speaking is critically important. I can't oversell the value of public speaking. Standing up in front of a crowd and giving a presentation terrifies everyone the first time they do it. It's totally normal to be afraid. I've sat through many research seminars and interview seminars when the speaker was clearly nervous. That's okay. Everyone's nervous. But you still have to be able to deliver. It's critically important in the scientific field. So broad background as much as you can. Get some experience if you can. Practice your public speaking.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with that. And I always use the nerves as like energy. It's always a great way to go out there and speak to a crowd. Yeah, there's some nerves, but you can transform it into energy and really showcase your passion for the area that you're speaking in.
Maybe you can transform it into your passion. The nerves for me always just made me want to go to the bathroom and pee, or made me want to throw up. But after so many years and so many talks, you do come to grips with it, and you just have to get over it.
I thought that was the energy. Anyways, my fifth question is one that everyone gets. It's a random question, and it sort of helps make you a little bit more human to our audience. Fans of the show know that I am no fan of bubblegum ice cream. I despise it. I just don't get it. I mean, if you're going to want that bubblegum flavor, you would chew bubblegum, right? Why eat ice cream and like eat bubblegum? Doesn't make sense to me. My question for you is, what is your favorite ice cream flavor, and why is it not bubblegum?
Why is it? Because bubblegum's nasty. That doesn't sound like a flavor. My granddaughter one time, I asked what flavor she wanted. She said pink. I'm like, that's not a flavor. My favorite ice cream? Challenging. I like them all. Probably caramel or fudge. Fudge swirl sounds good.
Yeah, that does sound good right about now.
Yes.
So, well, thank you for answering. Everyone on the show has to answer that question, and only one person, I think as a joke, has said bubblegum as their answer. And it's
Wish I had tripped to that.
Yeah. So, back to more of the biotech side of the house. Why is now the time to work in this sector?
Oh, in so many ways, biotech is exploding a bit. I don't remember where I read it, but a few years ago they passed around a research that was done on the Oyster Point Peninsula in South San Francisco, and they talked about 26,000 new biotech jobs over the next 5 years, and that was several years ago. I didn't believe it when I read it, but in the last few years, I've watched them build buildings everywhere as fast as they can. All the big pharmaceutical companies have a footprint there, and the traffic has gotten insane. So yeah, biotech is the place to be. It's growing leaps and bounds.
Yeah, and I always say that South San Francisco, Menlo Park, those locations over there really are the heart of the nation when it comes to biotech and pharmaceutical area. Yeah, I mean, there's some arguments out there in terms of some East Coast locations of biotech hubs out in Chicago and in Massachusetts, but I strongly believe that some of the best research and development comes out of the Bay Area. So, what words of advice do you have for students that are interested in engaging with Genentech or Pfizer or really any of the biotech pharmaceutical areas?
I guess the thing I would say to you is don't be afraid and don't be shy. There are many avenues for you to get access to people like myself who have some experience in these places. Go talk to them when you can. There's a job fair here. We did a walking student career day here that I walked through. It was a lot of fun. Internships are available. Genentech in particular has a very strong intern program, but they're everywhere. Go apply. Don't be afraid. It looks like you may not have all the skill sets that they're looking for in an internship. You're not expected to walk into an internship and know exactly what you're doing on the job. The whole point is for you to get a chance to be exposed and to learn something. Apply for an internship. Spend a summer somewhere doing some research. Best thing you can do for yourself.
I agree. And by the way, this video is taking place in November. And in November, traditionally, that's when a lot of research experiences actually come online within institutions. And so if you're a student watching this, now's the time to start looking and applying for those research experiences that may be out there.
Hey Robert, when does UROC application open?
It is open today, actually. So if you hear, there's a magical voice in the room, and it just reminded me that the UROC applications actually are open right now. So if you're interested in engaging in UROC or research experiences for undergraduate students through the National Science Foundation or NIH, or if you're interested in doing SULI work and going into the SULI program over in National Labs, those are open right now. And I'm sure that all those biotech pharmaceutical organizations would really love to see a lot of that research experience on a student's resume.
Yes.
I was hoping you'd say that. And so, listening to you speak, I know that a lot of students that have a passion for the space will want to come to apply for an internship or full-time career with some of your past organizations. How can students take the next step and apply for internships, careers, and other programs with your organizations? Where should they go next?
I realize it's hard. If you don't know anyone and you don't know how to get your foot in the door and you feel like you apply to a whole bunch of places and you never hear back, from firsthand personal experience, I know how difficult that can be. My advice to you is, if there's a job opening you find online, and it's the only way to do it these days, go online, search the career pages, look for job openings that match what you do or what you've done closely enough, and apply for those jobs. You will get calls. You will eventually end up with an interview. You will eventually get a job. There are jobs out there for everybody. We struggle to find the right people. The thing that people always seem to stumble on is either, I don't have all the qualifications and so I can't apply. Bad. If you've got most of the qualifications, send your resume. If you've got none of the qualifications, it's probably not helping you to send that resume in. And coming from personal experience, when one person applies to 7 or 8 jobs all side by side, only several of which they're actually applicable for, it's probably not a good look. So I would say, don't be too selective, but if you see a job that looks right, send in your application.
I think that's excellent advice. Having seen some of the applications for some of the positions around campus as well, I've noticed that a lot of students will just blanket the market with like 50 applications for different positions, where really you should be strategic and look at positions that really you feel like you could thrive in and make an impact. I think that's great advice. Anything else that you would want to say to our viewers before we say goodbye?
When you get that interview, remember that you are also interviewing them. They're not just interviewing you. You should walk into the interview with as much research and background as you could have on both the people you'll talk to and the company you're going to go talk about. Not just, here's how I can work for you. You should be bold and ask questions. What's in it for me? What kind of research? What would I learn if I took this job? What are my possibilities for advancement? How big a team will I be able to work on? Those kinds of questions are valuable and available to you, and you should ask them.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being here, Dr. Dave Russell. Really appreciate your time here today and really giving your insight to the biotech industry, which I know several of our students are interested in, and really appreciate your time and your commitment to helping the next generation of students find out where they can go within the biotech and pharmaceutical sector. Appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. And students, I hope you don't go yet, because we have a number of different podcasts available for you from previous employers that are on our YouTube page. So please go through, and if you want to, you can go discover some of the previous career options that are available to you. Thank you so much today. And Dave, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Fun being here.
And I look forward to you, the student, coming in and viewing the next podcast. Thank you so much.